Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We interrupt our regularly scheduled program to bring you a special wrestling video. No, this is not our next WrestleMania fantasy booking. We'll save that for Sunday. Instead, we're going to talk about something else because today is a very special day. Because on this day, 8 years ago today, I attended my very first and so far only WrestleMania live in person. It was WrestleMania 34, 2018 in the city of New Orleans. And let me just say it was amazing, especially being a lifelong wrestling fan. That's probably the one show that you most fans dream of going to, not always get to. And I never actually thought I would actually go to a WrestleMania, let alone in a completely different state. Um, but yeah, I got to live that childhood dream. I attended it with some friends, some really close friends at the time, and it was truly an amazing experience. Um, for any wrestling fans out there, if who have been to Raw, SmackDown, whatever wrestling shows, try your best to actually go to a WrestleMania. It's the atmosphere and everything is completely different than a regular weekly show. I mean, you have fans from all over the country, all over the world, all converging into one place for, wrestling fans. Um, it was a really, fun trip and everything. We just spent the weekend out there. Um, Explored around Bourbon Street, because obviously you're in New Orleans, you're going to want to check out Bourbon Street. Um, we actually went on a haunted tour guide of a cemetery, which none of us paid attention at all during that. Maybe because it was broad daylight and it wasn't as creepy or scary as you would think a haunted cemetery would be. But yeah, that was like couple days before the actual WrestleMania event. Um, I won't tell you if the show was good or bad. We'll save that until we get to that show in these WrestleMania rebookings. Then we'll talk into more detail about the actual show. So I'm not gonna spoil about whether it was a good show or not, but whether it was good or bad, let me just say, like I said, to be there live for the biggest wrestling event in the year, it just hits you different. I mean, when you get to that city where WrestleMania is gonna be at, you're like, oh shit, I'm here. And then you take that drive to the arena and you arrive at that arena and you see this big, huge stadium. Like, holy shit, I'm here. And I think it didn't really hit me and my friend until we actually got to our seats. And then we actually saw that we were a lot closer to the stage than what we expected. We didn't think we were going to be that close and that. But yeah, it was truly amazing to see. If you've seen the WrestleMania stage for that particular WrestleMania, it had the Mardi Gras theme. It had like a big um, sparkly um, masquerade mask as part of the stage. And seeing it on TV is one thing, but seeing it in person, just like so many feet away from you, is like, whew, yeah. Um, it like I said, I got to meet other wrestling fans, conversated me, met, like I said, met new wrestling people, new wrestling fans. It's nice to conversate with all these different wrestling fans and hear their opinions on everything that's going on, and it's really amazing. It's a really fun experience. If you're wondering if I met any wrestlers out there, yes, I did. I met a couple on accident and some on purpose. Um, the first one I met was by complete accident. It was actually former SmackDown general manager Vicky Guerrero, who happened to actually be staying at the hotel that we were at. If I remember correctly, me and my friends were hanging out by the pool. I went inside to go ask the front service desk. I forgot what for. As I'm waiting to get helped on, I happen to look to the side and I see a lady there. And I'm like, that haircut looks familiar. And of course, we all know how Vicky Guerrero's hair looks like. And sure enough, it was Vicky Guerrero. And the one time I usually have my phone everywhere I go, I did not even have my phone. I couldn't take a picture or nothing. Said hi, shook her hand and everything. I also not met, but I guess in a way bumped into Hornswoggle of all people. Our first day there, we were walking down Bourbon Street, and as we're walking, I happened to see I don't what's the proper word, a little person walk past me. And I had to do a double look, and I told my friend, I think that was Hornswoggle that just walked past. And I'm about 99% sure that it was because there was so many wrestling conventions going on at the same time. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of, different wrestlers out there and mingling about. Also, I think that same night while we were on Bourbon Street, I ran into Carlito of all people. Um, we were walking. It was already walking back to the hotel. It was dark out, and then I happened to look to my side and I see some random dude taking a photo with somebody. And then look again, and it's like, oh shit, that's Carlito. So I took a photo with him, and then it's funny because um, I guess I kind of made him feel kind of old, I guess. When I used to live at home, I would watch wrestling with my grandmother, and two of her favorite wrestlers were the most randomest people you could think of, Carlito and Santino Marella. But I think she liked Carlito more for some reason. I'm not gonna judge. And when I met him, and I took the photo with him. I legit told him I was like, "Hey, you're my grandmother's favorite wrestler." And his response was, "God damn, how old do you think I am?" I said, "Hey, my grandma likes to watch wrestling. What can I tell you?" Um, so yeah, I took a photo with Carlito, and then he went to go meet with another group of people, and then I didn't realize it at the time until after we had walked past, and I told my friend, I was like, "Holy shit, that was Tessa Blanchard." Yeah, I know she's probably not the most popular women's wrestler, in the last couple of years or whatever, but at that point in time, she was like pretty, popular and all that, and it is Tessa Blanchard, so yeah. She's actually, I never met her in person. She's actually rather pretty short. So I didn't get to actually meet her, but I did see her like a few feet away from me. Um, Also, I think the day of WrestleMania, we went to the WrestleMania. Pretty sure it was still called Access at this time, and we were gonna meet Bailey, and we were in line waiting to meet Bailey for maybe about 30 minutes or so. And we had like maybe like four or five people in front of us before Bailey's time was up. So then, just as we got up there, they had to switch out, so we didn't get to meet Bailey. I mean, not personally, we saw her as she was walking past. But we ended up meeting Lita, and I did get my women's title belt signed from her, which I'll probably show you. I ain't think about to grabbing it now. I'll show it to you when we do the booking for this show. I kind of felt bad for the little kids behind us that were there to see Bailey, that waiting in line all that time. But I think the workers there, we were trying to ask them, okay, where do we go till we meet Bailey? Do we go here? None of the workers knew where the hell to go, so we were lost for like 20 minutes. And I think if we had spent those 20 minutes in the line, we probably would have met Bailey. Um, we did meet her the following year in Phoenix for the Royal Rumble. She really wasn't one of my favorites at the time, but she has become one of my favorites since then. So yeah. Um, we also met Primo, I think it was, inside the Elimination Chamber that they had the access team. And I told him, I was like, "Yeah, I met your brother last night on Bourbon." And I was like, "I think he was drunk." And he's like, "Yeah, that sounds just like him." So yeah. Um, I think that was the only wrestlers I met out there. Um, I know the night before, as we were walking, around Bourbon, they were playing in this one nightclub. They were just playing like lots of wrestling themed music, and it was pretty lit in there. I guess do people still say lit? I don't know, but it was pretty cool. They were just playing all kinds of wrestling themed music over the speakers. Brock Lesnar, DX, AJ Styles, Shinsuke, pretty much every you name it. They were playing them, and I think half of the crowd cleared out when they started playing Jinder Mahal's music for well, in all reality, who gets excited for Jinder Mahal? But yeah, so half the crowd cleared out, and we went in, and they still played on some more. They played Seth Rollins' "Burn It Down" theme, and they started a mosh pit, and as we decided to leave. But other than that, it was a fun experience. Every time we heard people chanting "woo," we were looking around. Maybe we thought we saw, there was somebody around. But it was. That's all I can really say. It was an amazing experience, and is something I would love to experience again one day. Um, I would love to enjoy an outdoor WrestleMania. You know, that's on my bucket list. But even just to go to WrestleMania, period, is an amazing experience. It's, being a wrestling fan, you're like, damn, I wish I could be there one day. And when you go to your first wrestling event, you see it hits much different in person than it does, watching on TV. But then to go to your first pay-per-view, again, it's different. But to go to your very first WrestleMania, it hits million times different. Um, you know, hopefully, WrestleMania comes nearby again because I would definitely love to go, especially hopefully they lower ticket prices soon because these ticket prices are insane. Um, I miss going to wrestling shows, but the way these prices are, the cheapest ticket probably costs more than a damn mortgage nowadays. Because I really tried to go to Elimination Chamber, which was here in Chicago, but tickets were way too good. The cheapest tickets were still very, very pricey. And it would have been easier for me because United Center is probably 40 minutes at the most from where I live. The Allstate Arena, where they usually have it at, is probably at the most an hour, hour and a half away, depending on traffic. So United Center was literally right there. But unfortunately, I'm not gonna pay that much for especially the cheapest tickets they got. So yeah, but hopefully they do lower these prices and I can go back to attending shows because trust me, I really want to get in there, especially with this new content that I'm doing. I do have some ideas hint, hint, about when I do go to wrestling shows. Um, but yeah, it would be great to have another WrestleMania here in Chicago. The last one they had here was in 2006, 20 years ago. They had WrestleMania at the Allstate Arena. Um, Obviously didn't go at that time. I would love for them to have WrestleMania here again, but we don't really have a big stadium like that. And as you know, recent WrestleManias they like to have them in big stadiums, big arenas, and the only really outdoor stadium we have, like that'll probably be good for that show, will probably be Soldier Field, where the Chicago Bears play. It's an outdoor arena, but having WrestleMania here around in that time, and they usually have it beginning of April and into March. Weather in Chicago around that time is usually kind of bipolar. I mean, those last few days has been hot and cold and hot and cold and hot and cold. So yeah, I don't really think they'll want to have an outdoor WrestleMania with the weather, you know, being up and down all the time. The only other arenas we have are All-State Arena, like I say, United Center, but they usually have like Raw or SmackDown there. We also have Wrigley Field where the Cubs play, which I'm not a Cubs fan, so don't expect to find me there. I'm a Sox fan. We have I still call it Sox Park. It's I don't even know what the hell it's called. They changed the name so many goddamn times. That's also I think that'll probably be more better for like a SummerSlam or something. But I think if Soldier Field had like a roof over his head, I think that would be the perfect place to have a WrestleMania. And guarantee you, if they did, I would do my absolute best to try and make it there. So bring out all the overtime, and hey, I'll find a way to get to that WrestleMania. But yeah, we need to bring WrestleMania somewhere here, back to Chicago. I know they have a deal with Indianapolis where they're supposed to have Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and WrestleMania. They did Royal Rumble already. If they do have that WrestleMania, that's about 2 hours away. If it's manageable, trust me, I would definitely take that 2 hour trip. But yeah, that was like I said, 8 years ago today. Attended my first WrestleMania, and so far, the only one. I'm trying to hopefully add some more to this list eventually. So yeah, that was that. Also another special day that happened today was on April 8th, 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, was the day I officially became a fan of a Tegan Knox guy. See, I was aware of Tegan. I mean, a little backstory, right quick. Um, NXT. I remember the original NXT when it came out with Daniel Bryan and the Nexus, and it was like a game show. And the first couple seasons, whatever. Then they changed it to a web show, and then that's when they changed up the whole format of NXT to the black and gold. And if everyone remembers, that was a lot better than what was going on with Raw and SmackDown at the time, and everybody was preferring NXT over Raw and SmackDown. I didn't really watch it too much because I didn't really want to watch anything online. So when they got a TV deal in the end of 2019, that's when I actually started watching NXT. And there were three individuals that got me really hooked into NXT, that got me watching every single week. Three people who you probably think, okay, of all people, and that would be Tony Storm, Shotzi Blackheart, and the most underutilized, underappreciated, undervalued, the girl with the shiniest wizard, the Welsh firecracker, the Blue Marvel, Tegan Knox. Nixon Newell. Hey, those were my big three of NXT, and they were the main reason of all people. Those were the main reasons why I tuned into NXT every week since it came on, since it got a TV deal. And I was, starting to become a fan of Tegan. I had heard about her, and I saw this how pretty good she was in the ring. I don't care what anybody says about her. I still think she's one of the best. Say what you will. I said what I said. I think she's one of the best. Argue with me if you want to. By the way, my wrestling page is Tegan Fan 87599. Feel free to give that a follow. Um, it wasn't until this show on April 8th. It was supposed to be a takeover in uh Orlando. But of course, the whole pandemic happened, so they couldn't have the show. They had it at the Performance Center, so they turned it into a 2 week event, I think it was. Um, and on this day, they had one of my favorite matches, of course, a multi-person ladder match to determine the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. It featured, of course, Tegan Knox, um, Mia Yim, Candice LeRae, and three others who will go on to become my favorites: Dakota Kai, Chelsea Green, and the winner of that match, Io Shirai, now known as Io Sky. That was the day I can honestly say I officially became a Tegan guy. So yeah, since then, for the last 6 years, I've been a big supporter of Tegan Knox. I don't care what anyone says. They can call her injury prone. I think she's a beast. I said it again. I said what I said. You want to argue with me? Hey, represent. Speaking of which, there's going to be a independent wrestling event in June, and she will be a part of it. And yes, as soon as tickets go on sale, I will be getting my ticket to go because I have yet to see Tegan in person live. I've seen lots of my other favorites live. I've seen so many of my favorites, live in person. Tegan is not one of them, and hopefully, by the time these tickets come out, hopefully they don't cost an arm and a leg like how WWE does. I will be there. Unfortunately, it's in Wrigleyville where the Cubs play, so I guess I will have to take one for the team and go out there. Yeah. So, yep. That's that pretty much. Yeah, anniversary of WrestleMania, anniversary of becoming a Tegan guy. Oh, speaking of guys, also in New Orleans, I also met a certain WWE fan who some people like, some people dislike. Me, I have my opinions on him, but I'm not going to go into too much of that because I don't want to get canceled for bullying. Yes, I met the Brock Lesnar guy at New Orleans and everything. Like I said, I have my personal opinions on the guy. Sadly, he's also from here in Chicago. I've seen him in person a couple of times. I actually took a photo with the guy. Um, yeah, at the nightclub where they were playing the wrestling music. So yeah, maybe when I go to see Tegan's live in June, maybe I'll mark out hard enough and I'll become the Tegan guy on the internet, just like the Brock Lesnar guy. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I know. Anyway, so yeah. that is that. Happy anniversary to attending my first WrestleMania. Happy anniversary to 6 years of being a Tegan Knox fan. So yeah, until then, I will see you. And again, one more time, if you haven't once in your life, at least once, try and to attend a WrestleMania at least once. Try. It's a must. It really is. And then I'll talk more into detail about that WrestleMania. Like I said, I didn't say if it was good or bad. We'll get into that when we get to the video of rebooking that WrestleMania in possibly in a couple weeks. Um, so until then, if you haven't asked me about it, chances are I'm going to talk about it anyway.